安高业已经很多是安高业得的冠军是无数了，而且他是 CBF Canadian Bass Angler Federation 的 North GTA 的 President， 这是他，我还没有机会跟他钓过鱼，但是我们鱼会有人跟他钓鱼。我现在给就是，No, I use English because David, can you speak a little bit Chinese? No, you don't understand?
Not enough to do a seminar.
Okay, I know. David is a very famous angler in Canada. Today we are very honored to please him to give us a lecture about how to bass fishing. David has more than 20 years bass competition experience in Canada, and he won a lot of champions. And he also the CBS president of the North GTA. I have joined CBF 4 years, but I still have no chance to fishing with him.
Maybe this year.
Maybe this year. I hope, because last year I didn't fish a lot. Right now, I want to leave the time to David, and if anybody have a lot question, can ask him. I think David would like to, answer any question. He's not only bass fishing angler. David also win a lot of tournament on the pike, perch, crappie, and walleye. So everything, I know,
Actually, I've never won a walleye tournament.
Oh,
I had a second, that was it. So I'll have to try to win one.
I think last year you won a very big prize for the pike, right?
Yeah, we won the Muskoka pike.
Yeah. So you can ask any question. So I leave time to David, okay?
Thank you, Barry. Yeah, like Barry says, I have been doing tournaments for well, over 20 years. I don't try not to think about how many over 20 years, because it just reminds me how old we're all getting. But and I do like to fish for all kinds of species. Obviously, most people know me as a bass angler, but like Barry says, I like fishing all kinds of fish. Doesn't matter. I used to do a lot of river fishing as well before I started doing tournaments, but I just don't have time for that anymore. In fact, I just came back. I just drove back right now from Lake Nipissing. I was up there ice fishing. So today we caught walleye, we caught perch, we caught herring, and I also caught a big ling today. A big ling cod. It was like 32 inches long. So.
Yeah, how about crappie?
No crappie.
Everybody want crappie.
But in the spring, I'm gonna go up there for some white bass. So hopefully, we'll show you some pictures of those later. So, anyways, I told Barry I might as well talk about a little bit about bass fishing. Primarily, how to fine tune your presentations. Okay, I know everybody probably if you bass fish, you probably drop shot it before. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things that maybe you haven't tried before, and what you might want to try this year to improve your catch ratio and your size ratio. So, how many people here drop shot? Okay, most of you guys drop shot it before. So now when I first, a lot of people think of drop shotting as relatively new, but when I think back, I've been drop shotting for over 10 years now. So they probably came into prominence in California in about 12 years ago, and I first started doing it about 10 years ago. I've actually won several tournaments just drop shotting. I can see mostly people have done it already, but drop shotting is basically just having a weight below and then a hook with a bait above, or in this case, what's called a drop shot fish head, something that's very different. So that's something you want to look at. Fluorocarbon line's important. Okay. This is how many people have seen this before? Anybody? Okay. It's a little device little hook thing from Swarming Hornet, and you can we can have a closer look at it later on. But it has a little line tie up top here. You just tie a regular Palomar knot, and then there's actually a hole that goes through the body here. So that's why it enables it, when you rig it up, it keeps the bait standing up from the line, which is very important when you're drop shotting. You don't want your bait sitting up against the line like that. You want it to be standing out whenever possible. Okay, so that's something that's relatively new that people haven't seen before. I know Pro J's has these in stock. Right? You still have any left?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know they're gonna, once people see them, they're gonna be hot. It's got a really nice Gamakatsu hook on it, super sharp, and you can put whatever you want on here. I happen to have an X-Zone Shiver Shad on here, but you can put any kind of drop shot bait on there and it'll work as well. Another thing that's changed over the years is when I first started drop shotting, I thought it was for finesse fishing, clear water, deep water. And nowadays, I don't think that way anymore. I've caught fish drop shotting in as shallow as 2 feet of water, and of course as deep as like 65 feet of water. So there's quite a wide range you can use drop. Very versatile presentation, much more versatile than most people give it credit for. There's lots of professional anglers who, when we first started drop shotting, they all went, oh, drop shotting, sissy way of fishing, right? They're all drop shotting now too, because it works. It catches fish. It catches big fish. This is another change that's happened. There's a couple different shapes of special drop shot weights, and you can see you can unclip it and change the depth or the height that the bait's off the bottom. Nice and easy with the clip. And there's also different shapes. This is a cylinder one, which I prefer. There's also round ones. And but this happens to be an ultra tungsten drop shot weight. How many people here are using tungsten right now? So only a couple people. You should try using tungsten. I know it's more money, but it's worth the money. How many people use braided line? Very sensitive, right? Braided line, you know, fire line or even spider wire or Power Pro. Very sensitive, right? Remember when you first tried braided line and using monofilament before? Big difference, right? So you'll find the same thing with the tungsten drop shot or any kind of tungsten weight. Because of the density of it, you have a lot more feel. It transmits a lot more information up the line. So that's real important. And the more information you have, you know, the better you're gonna be able to fish. So you can, honestly, I can go out there if I'm fishing, I pull on the bottom, I can feel, oh, there's rock. All of a sudden, oh, now I'm on sand. Oh, I just bumped into a log. Once you get comfortable with it, you'll be able to tell by the sense of the vibration it sends up the line what it is. Okay, so if you start using tungsten, you'll find you'll be much more successful as well. Now, having a reel with a super smooth drag is important. The other thing I've gone to these days, when I first started drop shotting, I used a 7-foot medium light rod. Okay, because I thought, oh, it's finesse fishing. We're going to fish with 6-pound tests and everything. I generally don't go any lighter than about, I usually use 10-pound fluorocarbon. Sometimes I'll go to 8 if the conditions are really tough. But you'll see from this rod here, and these are rods that I helped design from C-Max, and it's got a very fast tip on it, so it makes it super sensitive, but you can see how much backbone there is to that. So I have a lot of power to this, so it's not just a finesse presentation anymore. So I fish some pretty heavy cover, and I do things with the rods that I probably shouldn't. You know, I'll flip 5-pound smallies into the boat without a net, which I don't do it in a tournament, but if I'm out practicing and I get one, I'll flip it into the boat, which probably might lead to some warranty work for some rod companies. But this rod is super lightweight. If you haven't felt this at the shows yet, come up and feel this rod. Unfortunately, you can't buy it yet. It's probably going to be maybe the end of May, beginning of June before these are available. And very reasonable, probably around the $220 mark for the rod. And when you feel how light it is, how sensitive it is, it's well worth it. In fact, we had many pro staff from other companies pick it up and think it was a $500 rod, but it's very reasonable. Of course, I know there's some people who are probably Daiwa fans out there. I'm not going to tell you this is not a cheap reel. This is a Daiwa Steez, but the combination of the two of them, well, you can feel it later on. And of course, Daiwa has probably the best drag system out there, the smoothest drag, and that's what you need when you want to, fight these fish on this. Sometimes when you have to go to a lighter line. Now, another drop shot rig I'm going to show you.
If somebody cannot speak David's English, maybe you can raise your hand, then I can translate for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't understand,
if you
I'll try not to
这样
speak too
不懂
fast.
因为
So
你刚刚讲的人家也听不懂说什么。
对啊，你就直接说就好。
不是想
No,
想了解什么
no,
detail